Hi, I'm Dana Martin, and thank you for watching this Worship Keys coaching video, especially for worship keyboardists. In the next few minutes, you're going to pick up the secret for why chord inversions are so important to your worship team. But before we talk about chord inversions, I want to talk a little bit about the scale. Most of you are familiar with Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. But you may not know that you can number those degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or also 1 again. And the way you form a chord is by playing the 1, the 3, and the 5 of that scale. So from the C scale, we know now that C, E, and G make up the C chord. And whenever that you play a chord with the root name, the name of the chord or the root on the bottom, it's called the root position. But what if you wanted to flip the chord over and put the root on top? It's still a C chord, because you have the exact same notes, they're just played in a different order. This time they're E, G, and C. And that's called the first inversion. And you can also flip it over one more time and have the root in the middle, G, E, and C. And that is called the second inversion. So we can play a chord in its root position, its first inversion, or its second inversion. Now you might ask, why do I need to know the inversions? Well, they are very important for your worship team to be able to hear their parts in the right order. I'm going to play a little bit of a song, and all the chords are going to be played in the root position. And I want to see if you can figure out what the song is just by the chord progression, okay? Probably couldn't tell what it was because you couldn't hear any of the melody notes. Now, I'm going to play that song again, but this time I'm going to play the chords and the inversions that closely match what the worship team is singing. Now notice I did not say I'm going to play the melody. No, I'm going to play the chord progressions that closely match what the worship team is singing. You do not want to just play the melody because that is left for the vocalist to carry. That way, if they want to do any ad-libs or anything, then it's easy for them to do however they want to do it. But you do want to make it easy for them to hear their parts. I'm going to play the song again, and now this time tell me if you can recognize what it is. Did you recognize it as Here I Am to Worship? I was playing in the inversions that closely match what the worship team is singing. You see, sopranos are trained to listen for the top note because that's the note that they sing, the top note of the chord. Now it may not be in root position, just like in this case, the first note in Here I Am to Worship in the key of D is the third, or the F sharp. Light of the world. But if I were playing this, the root position, the melody note does not stand out, and it makes it hard for the soprano to hear what her first note should be because it's not easy for her to hear. Now the other parts, alto and tenor, they're used to listening for their notes somewhere else in the chord. They know that they're not going to listen for the top note because they aren't singing the top note. But to make it easy for everybody to hear their parts, play the notes in the order that they're sung, soprano, alto, tenor. And that way your worship team will have a much tighter sound, and they will thank you for making it easy for them to hear their parts. Now I'd like to tell you a little story. A couple of months ago I was teaching this to one of my piano students, and the next week when she came back, she said when she told this to her worship team, her soprano got so excited, and she said, I always thought I was stupid because it was so hard for me to hear my part, and now I understand why I couldn't hear it. And because Elizabeth had practiced a few songs that they were going to be singing that week, playing the inversions the way I showed her, the worship team had such a much easier time finding their parts. So I challenge you to try this with a few songs. Maybe start with a couple of slow songs. Maybe Hear Him to Worship would be a good one if your worship team does that song. And just play a quarter note rhythm and let the worship team carry the melody, but play the inversions that more closely match what the worship team is singing. And I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised at how much tighter the team will sound and how much they will appreciate your help. If this has helped you tonight, I ask you to write a little comment on Facebook to me. I really would appreciate that and help me get the word out. And also, if you're interested in more information like this that would help you be a better worship keyboardist, please check out my website at pianodana.com and click on coaching. And I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.